Hey guys, it's Boy. So in this tutorial, I'm going to take you on how you can create a login application where someone will be entering the username and entering the password, and then it will be loading him into the next scene and welcoming him by his name. So from that point now, you can advance the application, put into something more big and in whatever size you want. So right away, let us start this new project. So we will create a file and we will be creating a new project, and let us a JavaFX application. Then select JavaFX FXML application. Then select next. Then now here let us type in the name of our new application. So let us type. We'll just give it login. So login will be the next of the name of our project. So can click finish. So login pages are more familiar to you because whatever, when you have to access your email, your Facebook page or any form of software nowadays, you are always required to use this form. So let us rename first the FXML file, and I will call my FXML file login.fxml, and then I will also rename my controller class file and call it login controller.java. So I'll just rename it login controller.java. So that's it. And always remember, when you rename any Java class file, it is always good practice to refactor so that it can make the necessary changes in the application. So after doing that, now remember, when you rename the FXML file, you always now come to the main class file here and type in the name of the new resource. So it is login.fxml file. So that's good. So, and then you always remember, when you rename your controller class file, always come and edit your FXML file because it can no longer find its controller class file. So just come here and type the new name of the controller class file. Log into the controller, and you can see if the red mark disappeared, the warning. And then now you can now open. Now let us open this application in the scene builder so that we can design our application by entering at least 2 text fields. So this FXML file, we open it in the scene builder because in the scene builder is where we'll be doing most of our applications. So it opened. So right away we will now we'll delete this button on the label. We don't need it in this application. And then now you can decide to create a login application. We will first have to resize the one caption so that it can hold at least a form, a simple form where you will be placing the username. So remember, in this application, this application will not be using a database. I'll teach you about database in another class. So this one is just to teach you how you can validate passwords and usernames, and how you can now access the same information in the next page, the username and the password. So after doing this, now we will have to drop in something. So first of all, I will drop in the text field where I will be placing the username. So I will be using a text field for placing usernames, and then now drag and drop it into the VBox. And then again, I'll be using a password field. So a password field is different from a text field. Text fields, you only text values and you can view them. For password fields, it obscures or it prevents the person from seeing whatever is typing. So that is very good when you are typing in password field passwords. So after doing that, now we will also need some button. So a button, and we need a button where someone will be now clicking, and then it will log us to the next page. Drop it into the VBox. So, and you can see everything in our application is very compressed. So you can just select everything here, the text fields, even up to the button. Come to the layout, and the layout will give everything at least a margin of 20. So that at least, and then after doing that, now select the password field and the text field only, and then we'll give it some height of about 35, and then we'll also give it some width of 300, and that I think should be the maximum. So just select the maximum width to the preferred size, and then now come to the VBox, select this VBox, and then we will come to the properties and then align everything to the center. And then this button, you can now even decide, select this button and now resize it to whatever size you want. So I'll just select something simple like that, and then I'll just type in the name of the caption of the button to be login. And then in this text field, you see it's very blank and you cannot even differentiate it from the password field. So I'll put in some prompt text. Remember, you can just decide to put a text here beside the text field so that you can act as some title. But I'll just put in some prompt text, and I'll say enter the username, or just enter username. So after doing that, now I'll also come to the second to the password field, and I'll type in some prompt text, and I'll say enter password. So after doing that, you can just preview it and see how it looks like. So when you type in, this is the difference between a password field and the text field. So you can see they don't look alike at all, but you can easily confuse them until you type something in. So that's it. So after doing that, now we will give this text field and this password field some ID. So come to the code here, and then we'll give it an FX ID, and I'll call it user. And then this password field, I'll give it an ID pass. And then in this method, I will give an on-action event. I'll set some method here, and I will say login user. That's the name of our method. So remember, the controller class file will just when you make the controller, it will just create this method. It does not exist in the controller class file, but if it already exists, it will just leave it as it is. So that's after doing that, now you can just resize or just even close the FXML file, and then now you can make the controller. And just note that it removed the FXML annotation at the label, and will be just deleting because we don't need it anymore. So our text field and our password field have been represented here, and our method. So before even type anything, we need a second page where after logging in we'll be going into. So Java package will create into the source package, right click it, and then new, and then create a new package. So let us name the name of our new package, and I will call it page B. Then finish. So inside page B, just right click it, and then we'll create a new, and then select other. Then JavaFX, then empty FXML. We are just trying to place an empty FXML into it, and then into the empty FXML, type in the name of the name of the FXML file, and we'll be just call it page B. Nothing much. So next, and then it will be using a Java controller, and then you can select finish. And then after doing that, now just expand this login, and then I'll be copying this main Java controller class, not the controller class file, but the main Java class file. Note the difference. This one is the main controller, the main class file, because it contains the main method. Unlike the controller class file, the controller class file does not contain the main method, and in Java, this is always the main method. So that's why I call it the main class file, the main Java class file. So I'm going to copy this class file and paste it here, so that even this package can all. It is not good practice to put two main Java class files into one package, but you can put it in different packages and it will not create any error. So I'll just paste it and I'll put in a refactor copy so that I can rename it, and I'll call it page B. So remember, all Java class files you always start the name with an uppercase letter. So after doing that, now it is time to do some changes into this page B. .java, and I'll rename the name of the FXML file because it is another package and it is supposed to load the page b.fxml. And then after doing that, now I think we are good to go. Now we will design our second FXML, that is page b.fxml. We'll just type in something like we'll just create a scene that has only a text. So in this uncaptain, I'll just type in a vbox. So I'll type in a vbox because what a vbox does, it aligns everything in a vertical manner. So I'll just put in some text. Drop it into this vbox. Then I'll just increase first of all the font size of the text. Very important, so that this it is more readable. Let me just select book antica, and then I'll improve the font size to something like that, and then change even the caption, and I'll say welcome, something like that. And but in this application, I'll show you I can advance this and add the name of the one person who was just logged in. So after doing that, now select this vbox, align everything to the center, and then that's it. So after doing this, now nothing much. Now let us give this text an ID so that we can be able to manipulate it from the Java class file. So remember, if you want to access anything or change anything just from the Java class file without coming to the scene builder, always remember to give it an FX ID, because this FX ID, it is what identifies it in the controller class file, and then it will make the changes into the FXML. So give it an ID, and I will give it an ID names. So this way we'll be placing the name of the person who was logged in. So after doing that, now we can just close the application, come to the page.fxml file, and then right click it and make the controller. So it will make the changes into this page.controller, and you can see the names are displayed here. So once you do that, now I can say we are good to go. And then now we come back to login this source package, this package login. Here you come to login controller. This I want to type in now some code into this login.user. But before we do that, we will create a default username and a default password, so that if anyone puts anything other than that, it will be declared wrong user credentials. So string user username, and we will initiate it, and I will just call it my name. So Noah, the first letter with an uppercase, and then remember Java is case sensitive, so password, and then I'll initiate it something like that, and then I'll put 1 2 3, that is the password, and then we will need an observable list first of all. So this will be carrying in the data, and so I will need an observable list. So I will create an observable list here. So remember, for observable list, it carries data just like an array. It's just a form of an array, but it observes any changes in that list, and then it will just update it in wherever it was rendered or displayed. So observable list, and then this is just type in FX collections. Observable So once you do that, now import the libraries. So now you're good to go. So there's another thing that we will need to do. So we will create a string now that will be carrying the name, so that it can be displayed in the next page. Once it is verified that the user has entered the correct information, we need a string value that we can add it to the observable list, that will add it to a method will create. And in this method that has a string return type, it will be displaying it in the next page. So I'll take you through everything that I've said. So first of all, let us create a private a static string. So we'll just say static string. We are getting a static string. Static because it will be it will be placed in static methods. So static string, static string. Let us call our string the username. I just call it uname, and then I'll initiate it into empty quotes, so meaning it does no initial value. And then after doing that, now I think you are good to go. Now I'll create in some method. So the first method, I'll call it get variables. So static. So this is the method I'm creating. So I have done a class about methods, and if you are very new to methods, or you have not understand the concept about methods, I've done both in English and Kiswahili. So if you are conversant in any of those languages, you can just look at my channel, and you have everything is just there. So this is a method that has a string return type, because in this method that we are creating, it will be returning in the name of the string type that will be displayed in this application. And in this method, string type, and we will call this method get variable. So it will get the variable that will be added. So, and in this case, the variable will be the name or the username. So, and you know, this is a method that has a string type. So that is why this creates an error, because it needs a return value. So it will be returning the uname. Sorry, uname. So that's it. And then we need also another method. So in this method now will be adding the variable uname into the observable list. So I will create this method, and I will call it set value. So public static void. So I'll call it just set variable. So it will be setting the variable into this application. So once you do that, now we will get, so our uname, let us just say our uname will be getting its values from the observable list, in this observable list that we created here. So uname will be equal, so it will be equal to question. So this is how you can get values in this array. So I think, so first of all, I think this method, this observable list should be static. Yeah, that's it, and the error will go away. So we'll cast it to get a string value, and then after doing that, now let us now set this value. So this is login controller. The name of our controller, that is login of our class file. So the name of this class file is login controller. So when you put a pointer, it points into the its variable into its variables. So login controller uname equals to the name that we have gotten here. So you can just decide and say now equals to So let me briefly explain whatever I've done here. So first of all, there is this first method. This first method will be used by other classes in other packages to access the information. By just calling in the name, it will be returning in the value of the uname. And you remember the uname is the application that the string variable that will be carrying in the values of the username the person was logged in. So once it is logged in, he has logged in, we'll be adding it into the observable list. Then I need to do an observable list. So we'll create another method that will be getting the values. It is called prefix set variable. So in this method, it will now assign this variable uname and it will get the values, the string value in this observable list. So this is how you get the value. So it will be getting the first in the array, the first value in the array observable list. So after getting the value and assigning it into the uname, now it is time to assign because now this even is not really necessary. You can just delete this method, no need of having that one. So once you do that, now let us come directly and type in our application. Sorry about that method. I just did the same thing like a zero of application. So now let us get the values from the person that has typed in his username. So first one, it is the name. So let us call it string name is equals to the variable user. So the text field user dot get text. So we'll be getting the text, the string value from the text field. So this is how you get the string value from the text field. You type in the name of the text field, the ID of the text field, the get text. It will be getting the string value. Then you'll also be getting the string value of the password entered. So string password, let us put a W at the end, and then this one equals also to pass dot get text into brackets, and then you can just close. And then after doing that, now we are good to go. So now we have already gotten all these values. Now let us check if these values, if someone has filled all required fields. So we'll just be just simply by saying if name is empty, meaning that the name variable doesn't contain anything, or the password variable does not is empty. So meaning if it doesn't contain anything, there's some commands that should be placed. So I'll just type in the name of the alert. I'll type in some alert here. So this is an alert type, one of the alert types. I've done a class about alert types, so just you can view if you are new to it, but this one when we can create alert. So this one is a new alert, and this alert type is for information error. Another type is supposed to display an error that someone has not filled in the information. Let us import some thing here. Then after doing that, now it's simple. Now we will need again to put some. So let us give this alert some. We'll set first the header text. So header text. So this header text and put in some variable, and I don't want any header text in the alert type, so I'll just set it to be null, and then put the name, the content null to this alert. So set content text, and then inside here I'll put in the variable. So I'll just say fill all required fields. So that's it. After doing that, now you can just display this alert simply by saying show and wait. And so show and wait method simply says just select it. So this one simply means that unless until you click OK, it will just be displaying it. So show and wait, and then after doing that, now you can put else. Else meaning that now someone fill all required fields. Now it is time to check if now the username and the password entered is equal to the username and the password that we assigned here. So maybe you are getting your variables from the database. It's okay, but I know in this application we're not using any database. So I'll check first now if the name, the string value gotten from the text field now equals now is it equal to the username, the string value that we assigned the name, or and now we are not using or like in this application, in this part here we are using and because we want this one is now a compulsory, it's a mandatory if condition that all these two variables should be correct. The name should be equal to the username and the string pass w should be equal to the password, the string password. So equals, then I'll type in the variable password and I'll put into these two curly brackets, and then now after doing that, now that means that this person has logged in successfully. The username and the password is successful. So first of all, let me type an else condition here, meaning that maybe the username and the password, one of these two, someone has not entered it correctly. So I'll just copy this alert type here and paste it here and change the content by just saying sorry, and then exclamation mark, and then I'll say please enter the right credentials. So that's it. And then now after doing this, now it is time. Now we will first of all give this string uname the variable now it's time to give this string variable uname some value. So uname is equals to the string value that was entered in the text field. So because now we have made it is now sure that the username and the password entered is correct. So after doing that, now it is simple. So what I'll be doing now, I will now type in the code that will get us to the next page. So the next page, page B .fxml, that is the next page that we designed. So that's simple. So node I'll show you now. Just type this code. So event.getSource. So the event added. So this event is a variable action event. So I'll just extend this code. So let us just type in first the code. So event, the event added. Now we get the source into brackets. After that, then you add. First of all, get the scene. So now here in this method you get the current scene. we want to disappear the first scene first. This is the code for making this first scene where you enter the first name disappear, so that you can now open the second scene. So you get the scene. So if you want to make it, maybe click a button and so that some scene can disappear. Now this is the code that we'll be using, so it can close a window. So we want to close this window, the first window, and then so you get the window and then you hide. So it can decide to show, to hide. So that's it. So you import something here as JavaFX node. And then after doing that, now that you have hidden the first the first login page, now it is time that now we'll be loading the next login page. But we have not written a code to log into the next page. So I will create a method. So if you don't know about how to handle multiple scenes in JavaFX and FXML, I've done a class about that. So I'll just create a simple method. This method will be logging in our second scene. So I will call this method private void load window into bracket, and then in this variable, this type of method, I'll be requiring in some parameters. First, I'll be requiring a string variable or location. So if you don't know anything about these parameters and methods, I've done a tutorial about this. So but if you are not really understood, I'll just explain this method how it will work. So after entering the location, I'll also be requiring maybe some a title or something like that. So if you are dealing with so many windows, this method will actually be helpful to you. So here, let us first create some. So first of all, I'll create a parent and then FXML loader. Then you'll be loading. Then get class. Then get resource. And then the string here. So inside here, I'll just type in the location. So this is the location of the FXML file. So I'll just import some things here. I'll import the FXML loader and also import the FXML parent. And I'll throw another exception. So that's it. And then after doing that, now we can now proceed. And then first we'll create even a new scene. So new scene, and then into this scene I will add the parent, which gets the new location, the FXML file of the second resource. And then after adding that, now I'll create a new stage. Stage is equals to new. So we are creating a new stage, and we want this stage to have a style. So I'll just type in stage style, and it should be decorated. So there are many types of stages, so you can just decide to try it out the various types, but for this tutorial I'll be using the decorated one. So once you do that, now I think you're good to go. So now we will give this stage the scene. So I'll set the scene and then I'll also give this stage title. So you set the title, so into bracket, and I'll type in the variable of the string title, and then that's it. And then after that, now it's simple. You should show now our second scene. So show. So this is a method that requires two parameters. First, in this method, when you call this method, you have to place in the first parameter. I'll place the location of the second image or the second scene, and then I'll be placing the title that I want it to be placed when the second scene appears. So this is what we do. Just copy this, the name of the method here, come and call it here, and then put a colon here, and then now replace this string location with the name of the location that you want. So in this one, it's a / page b, the name of the package, so the package that holds the second scene, and then the scene itself .fxml, the FXML resource. That's it. And then this one, type in, put in a string value and type in the name of the second scene. That is the title of the second scene. So that is success. Can just say successfully logged in. Just say page B, and then that will save it. And then we have to throw in some exception here, because remember we threw in some exception. But if you don't want, you can just surround the entire block with a try catch application. So I'll throw another exception. So after doing that, now we are good to go. Since you have done this, I think you're good to go. And then so that's it. And then I'll call because I want this uname to be located in the next page, in the next page. So I'll just put in the name of the class to point out which. So you login controller. Login controller, the name of our class, and then a pointer. This is a pointer. It points out the field value that I want, and then I've assigned it to the name that was entered in text field. Then after validating it, this is how you validate if the password and the username were correct, and then now it assigns this value, and then now disappears or closes the first window, and then opens the second window. So this is how it will be working. So to see if we are now if our application did work, so first of all, then again, come to this second controller, page b.controller, come to this public void initialize. So here we want when this the second page appears, it will be displaying the welcome name plus the name that was entered. So and it will be displaying it in this text names, the one that we gave an ID, if you can remember quite well. So first, this is what we'll be doing. First, getting the string value of this we'll be getting the string value of the username that was entered. So I will call it this string value string user, and I will say login controller dot get variable. And you remember this dot get variable, this method dot get variable, it returned a string type unit, so it returns a string. So put a semicolon, and then after doing that, now you assign and put some value in this text, and then I'll say names dot set text, and then into string, and I'll say welcome, and then in some space, and then I'll add the string value of the username that was found. So that's it, and then you can now build the application, and we will see what we have in this tutorial. So once you do that, let us add. When the build is successful, we will run this application. So that's simple, is how we'll be creating login pages in JavaFX and FXML. Other things will just be improving the interface or something like that. So first of all, let us just try to click this button without entering anything, and you see there is an error button that appears, an error alert. You're supposed to fill out the required files. So I'll type in the name or my name, and then let me just try and put in a wrong password, and you see sorry, please enter the right credentials. There is an alert that is produced, and then let me now try and put now the right information, and it opens me and it welcomes me in the next page. Welcome Noah. So now you will see how it is very simple to do such a thing in JavaFX and FXML. I think now you have learned how you can create a simple login page in JavaFX and FXML. And now you can just use, if you want to log out, just add a button, put in the code that. So if you want to put a logout page, just add a button, and then you just be adding this code. Node event.get source. This one. A button, and on its action event just add something like this. So that was it about this tutorial. Hope you learned something about JavaFX and FXML, and hope we interact in the next tutorial. So this was everything about the simple login software in JavaFX and FXML. Subscribe to this channel. Always remember to come and view this channel, because I'll be designing more and more applications, more and more software to make Java programming more simpler and simpler as you aspire to know more about software programming. So that was it about this application. Thank you.